Were you able to be home when your first son was born?
No, that's a crazy story too.
Really?
It was like for both sons, they're literally born, I think they're about 16 months apart, which is the cycle almost lined up perfectly. So my team was deploying. My son was due right at that time. So I deployed late for that deployment by like a couple of weeks, waiting for him to be born. So they deploy. I stay back. We're waiting for the son to be born. He's born. I get a couple of nights with him, and I'm like, awesome. You know, I'm in the hospital. We go home. It's okay. She goes home. She gets to do the first six months with right on her own, with all the no sleeping stuff.
Good thing she's a gangster.
She's so gangster. So she does that. I come back and I'm like, hey, there's this perfect, 6-month-old baby, and I get to enjoy that,
Yeah.
And then we go through the next cycle, right? And same exact thing. He's due right when we're deploying. So again, they deploy. I stay back a week, same exact scenario. And so she does it again.
Yeah.
Holidays, birthdays, you miss all that stuff. Christmas, all that stuff. You just consider it not a thing, right, in your life. But birth of kids is a big deal. So most guys get to be back depending on what's going on. Some guys miss it because there's important things going on.
How did you compartmentalize being an elite operator one day and coping with that stress and compartmentalizing those things?
It was like high level compartmentalization. And we even get to a point where in our lifestyle at the team and in that lifestyle, you start to think in your head, man, I'm really good at compartmenting. And then when you're done, you go like, nobody's ever good at compartmenting. It's just what you have to do. It's the only way, because if you can't compartment it right, it's going to affect you when you're in moments of combat or training or like whatever in that life. And then when you're at home, it for sure affects your home life to where you're not even there sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
If you don't compartment it, your family's like, dude, dad's not even here. And that's what it was like most of the time, I think, for my family.
It was,
yeah.
I mean, it's clearly very hard to compartmentalize. I had a guy on the show one time who's a therapist, and he said there was a book out there. I don't remember who wrote it. It's called Men Are Waffles, Women Are Spaghetti. And meaning that, waffles are like these nice compartmentalized little squares.
Little chambers, yeah.
And everything's in line and nothing's touching. And then women are spaghetti, like everything's just touching. It's all over the place and it's a mess. But going back to just being able to, like, men are waffles, but being able to compartmentalize things like that. It's not an easy task.
And it has to be done in that moment. It doesn't mean it's like necessarily a healthy thing, but in that lifestyle, it's just a given. It has to be that way to work.
Did you have to do any parenting virtually, being away from the kids? You're on deployments, you're talking with your wife, there's maybe a situation or even just communicating with your kids while you're gone. I mean, having them start to understand, they're getting to ages where they start to realize dad's not here or dad's leaving again, or I'm not going to see him for a while.
That's the reason I got out, was because my older son started to realize that time, most of the time dad's not here. And all I get are these little FaceTime phone calls that are not real, right? And he started to develop anger and resentment for that, and it started to piss him off. When I was trying to be a dad through the phone, I could see that he was pissed, And so I made a decision, a conscious decision.
When you say trying to be a dad through the phone, like some sort of disciplinary action, like, hey, you shouldn't do this.
Anything you can think of being a dad with your wife on the phone, going, hey, he got in trouble at school. He got this. And those things start to happen when dad's not around.
Of course.
Because, and you're like, hey, son, you got to fix this. You got to do that. And he's like, even at 4 years old, he started to realize that this is bullshit, So that's when I was like heartbroken. Hey, I need to get out and be there and be a dad. That's just what I need to do. Right. And so one thing that can happen is such a struggle for operators is then when you're home and you're actually physically there, you're trying your best to dad in those brief moments, and it sometimes breaks the family apart more because you're like intruding on her system. So now she's got this system, this survival system of like mom and dad when you're not there. And then when dad comes and starts interjecting, it messes up the whole system. And it's like, it's a little smoother when dad's not here, And so that's such a hard dilemma, such a struggle. So I saw all these things, to myself, and I had teammates. With teammates, you're always going to encourage each other to stay in the team, Coincidentally, I had done 8 out of 9 deployments at that time, and realized that I had done everything that I came to do in my mind. The why behind joining at all the military was to go directly affect and to go fight directly, right? To go directly engage the enemy is what my goal was, and I got all of that. So
You were fulfilled.
I was fulfilled. So at that moment, I was like, hey, they try to convince you to you only got this much time, doesn't make sense to get out and not retire. It would be stupid per se, but for me, it wasn't stupid because I knew that those years between 8 and 12 is what I really wanted to. I wanted to be there for that, and I only had a couple of years time before that was starting to happen. So it was tough to make that announcement, like, "Hey guys, I got to get out of here," and I know the reasons. And it was like, "Oh, that's really dumb because you only have a couple more years left, few years left for retirement." And it was like, I know why I need to do it, so I stuck with the plan, and it paid off for me. It was the right decision for sure. So,
hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that clip with Chris Fettes, make sure you check out the full episode right here.